2025 was looking up, and then a whole bunch of nasty people decided to throw wrenches into it. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a great day and a great 2025 on this second day of 2025, the 9th day of Christmas. But not everybody is having a great day. In fact, there were two events that happened in the United States that I want to talk about today, and I want to talk about it in the light of what we can do in the future to prevent these attacks. One, of course, was in New Orleans, which was horrific. 15 people have succumbed to injuries of a pickup truck attack, and the person was related to a nasty organization. He had symbols of that nasty organization, and he was eliminated by the police at the scene. The police and the FBI are indicating that they are looking for accomplices. There were 4 accomplices or suspects that were identified and have since been cleared of any wrongdoing, so they're not associated to him, but they are still looking for possible accomplices in that incident. And while researching that incident for this video, I came across the Las Vegas incident where somebody detonated a Cybertruck outside a Trump Tower. The perpetrator is deceased at the scene. These may or may not be related instances. The police are looking into that. The Las Vegas incident, they believe that it was an isolated incident and that the person was working alone. However, the 2 vehicles are rented from the same company. I'm going to start off with going to the New Orleans incident, and then we'll go to a press conference on the Las Vegas incident. And then we'll talk about how we can probably use technology, the upside and the downside of using technology to possibly thwart these attacks in the future.
Sudden terror on Bourbon Street.
There were just bodies and the screams. You can't think about, unhear that. It was chaos and very, very scary.
Everything in the car is hitting, it's getting thrown.
The vehicle ran through a crowd of people. There's multiple injuries, multiple casualties. They need to canal in Bourbon.
Just hours after the clock struck midnight, the driver in a pickup truck went around barricades, according to police, those celebrating New Year's Eve along the iconic street. At least 15 people were killed, dozens others injured.
This is not just an act of this is evil.
The suspect, identified as Shamsuddin Jabbar, a 42-year-old man from Texas who previously served in the U.S. military. He was driving a privately rented pickup truck from Turo, an Airbnb-type rental site for cars.
An ISIS flag was located on the trailer hitch of the vehicle, and the FBI is working to determine the subject's potential associations and affiliations with terrorist organizations.
Once the vehicle stopped, the driver reportedly opened fire on responding police officers.
Law enforcement returned fire, and the subject was pronounced deceased at the scene. 2 law enforcement officers were injured and transported to local hospitals.
Witnesses are asking questions about why the city's steel mechanical barricades weren't up prior to the attack.
There was police there at the entrance, a lot of police there, but the metal barricades were not up.
Bollards were not up because they are near completion.
The FBI, which has taken over the investigation, does not believe the suspect acted alone.
We're aggressively running down every lead, including those of his known associates.
And the Sugar Bowl for college football, scheduled to be held in New Orleans this evening, has been postponed.
All agree that it's in the best interest of everybody and public safety that we postpone the game for 24 hours.
So what I've been hearing is that this individual, he was from Texas, originally from Beaumont, Texas, and was living in Houston. He had problems, financial problems. He had problems with a divorce. He had spent a number of years in the U.S. Army, and he was actually thinking about retaliating against his ex-wife for his divorce and members of his family, getting them together on some sort of a ruse and then attacking them. But somewhere along the line, he affiliated with this nasty organization and decided to engage in this plot to harm people. So he did that. He went down to New Orleans and he committed this horrible, heinous act. Right now, I want to cut in a clip of John Kennedy, Senator John Kennedy, and his reaction to this.
Joining us now from New Orleans is Republican Louisiana Senator John Kennedy. Senator, thank you very much for taking some time out for us. We know that you're very busy talking with law enforcement on the ground. There are a lot of folks in this country tonight that are afraid of what's happening in New Orleans. And I know that you're trying to get answers tonight as police search for other potential suspects, possible co-conspirators tonight. By all accounts, with this new surveillance video we have now, with what we're learning from police, this sounds to be some sort of sleeper cell, a terrorist cell on U.S. soil. Is that what you're hearing?
Well, there's a fine line between anger and grief, and I'm pretty much straddling that line right now. If you don't believe in objective evil, all you need to do is go walk about 30 or 40 yards that way. I'm here for two reasons. Number one, these are my people, and these are my people's guests. Number two, I don't want to hear from anybody in the federal government that they don't have the resources. Now, the White House, the FBI, Justice, Homeland Security are in charge now. We're cooperating with them. I want to give them a reasonable period of time. There's a lot of information out there. Some of it is actually true. I want to give them a reasonable period of time, but they need to saddle up and ride. We need to find out what happened here, and it's not going to be covered up. We're going to tell the American people exactly what happened, and that's why I'm down here.
Yeah.
We know a lot more than what's being reported, Aisha, but they are in the middle of an active investigation, and I don't want to do anything to screw it up.
Okay.
But I'm also not going to let them take the pressure off.
Okay, got it, Senator. You did promise transparency earlier in the press conference that you took part in this afternoon. Are you getting the sense that the FBI had been tracking this suspect, or are you getting the sense that they perhaps somehow missed this?
I can't answer that. I can't answer that, but I shouldn't. I'm going to say it again, Aisha. We're giving the FBI and Homeland Security a reasonable amount of time to do their job. And by God, they're going to do their job, and they're going to catch these people.
Is the
we're
FBI
going to know a whole lot more in the next 4 to 8 hours.
Senator, is the FBI being transparent with you?
You know, you never know. You just never know what they're not telling us. But I know how to probe pretty hard and get the information. I'm not interested in placing blame or saying who was right or wrong. I just want to catch these sons of bitches who did this.
Yeah, there is an active manhunt, it sounds like, right now for some of these. We don't know how many. We were told a range of suspects, perhaps 3 or 4. We know there's surveillance video out there showing some of these folks laying down IEDs around the French.
They think they're 3, maybe 4. Okay. I was disappointed early this morning. Someone with the FBI said very confidently there's no chance this is a terrorist attack. Well, they've taken that back, thank God. They were a little quick on the trigger. But we think now that there were probably 4, maybe 5 people involved.
Yeah. So let's be realistic here. Just you're straight shooters. So shoot straight with the people of New Orleans and Louisiana right now. Governor Landry says that there will be a Sugar Bowl tomorrow afternoon, that he'll be there and it will be safe. Is that realistic right now, given the circumstances?
We decided to postpone it by 24 hours, 1 day. The governor made that decision. He's doing a great job. He's in charge here at the state level. And I want to be fair to our federal officials and give them a chance. But, you know, I sat there and watched a 21-year-old kid outsmart the entire Secret Service of the United States and almost kill a former president and soon to be current president.
Right.
And we still don't have information. And that's not going to happen this time. By God, it's not going to happen this time. I will chase these people like they stole my dog until we find out what went on here. But I want to be fair and work with them, and let's give them a chance to catch these guys or gals. One may have been a woman.
Is New Orleans safe tonight?
Yes, but we're still in the process of tightening up security. We're still in the process of doing everything that we possibly can. The governor's called out the National Guard. We've got more FBI coming. We've got Homeland Security people. We've got state troopers who've done an awesome job. We've got the NOPD. We're doing everything we can. But like I say, there's a lot of information out there. Some of it's accurate.
Okay. Well, we hope that you will continue to keep us apprised of what you learn there on the ground, and we appreciate you taking some time for us tonight. Senator John Kennedy.
I'm just so sorry. I'm just so sorry to all those folks who lost loved ones and have loved ones in the hospital. I'm sorry, but by God, we're gonna get this straight. We're gonna chase these guys down.
Okay. Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana, thank you very much for joining us.
As you can see by that report, they still believe that there were other suspects at large, people who had helped him construct certain IEDs and possibly place IEDs. They have found IEDs throughout the city of New Orleans and throughout the French Quarter. And to one of the reports that I saw is that they have located and disabled several of those IEDs. So they're still working on this. And if you noted that when Senator Kennedy was asked if New Orleans was safe, he paused a bit. And then he said yes. And they did say that they were going to postpone the Sugar Bowl for 1 day. So today they should be playing the Sugar Bowl. Now, that to me indicates that they do believe they are able to secure the city and make sure that people are safe for the Sugar Bowl to continue. So I think that's a positive step. I know that they are bringing in a lot of personnel from all over the state and federal agencies to make sure that the city of New Orleans is safe. So I take the fact that they're actually going to play the Sugar Bowl today as a positive sign. But that's not the only incident that happened yesterday. Let's go now to a report from Las Vegas and see what's going on there.
Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. I'm here to give you really a brief update on what occurred on Las Vegas Boulevard this morning. As you know, we just had our New Year's Eve event where we successfully protected the city, where over 400,000 people were here last night. And that changed this morning at about 8:40 when a 2024 Tesla Cybertruck pulled into the area valet of the Trump International Hotel. Very quickly thereafter that, the driver, who was the sole occupant of the truck, we saw what looked like maybe some sort of smoke, and then the truck exploded. Smoke was coming from inside of the truck after we noticed the flash and the explosion, and I'm going to show you that first video. That's the Cybertruck parked right in front of the doors. So the individual that was in that truck is obviously deceased. Still in the truck as we speak here today. Our fire department folks, Engine 12, a number of others, you'll hear from one of the fire chiefs here in just a moment, arrived very quickly along with my officers. And obviously we knew that we had a much larger event than just a vehicle fire. And so the fire initially, they covered it with the tarp to try to get it to go out. Once the fire went out through the suppression efforts of the fire department, you'll see some of the evidence in the back of the vehicle. So those are gasoline canisters, they are camp fuel canisters, and large firework mortars. What I also would like you to pay attention to on that video, as you see that, it looks like the exterior of that truck is completely intact as it sits there. The fact that this was a Cybertruck really limited the damage that occurred inside of the valet, because it had most of the blast go up through the truck and out. In fact, if you look on that video, you'll see that the front glass doors at the Trump hotel were not even broken by that blast, which they were parked directly in front of. You can see that in the video there. What I will update, I'm very well aware that there's a name already been reported out into the media. I am not going to confirm any names to you as I sit here today, because I cannot do that with 100% certainty of who the individual is. What I can tell you is we do know the truck was rented in Colorado. We were able to trace that truck through the Tesla charging stations, and it arrived here in Las Vegas this morning at about 7:30 and went up and down Las Vegas Boulevard before immediately pulling into the Trump Towers. Unfortunately, there were 7 people that reported injuries during this incident. All of them still remain as minor injuries and were treated at UMC. The hotel and fashion show are back open for business. The Trump will remain closed as we continue this lengthy investigation as we move forward. So I just want to clarify again so that I don't get these questions. We do know who rented the truck. We are looking at that individual, but I am not prepared to release the name of any of the individuals that we are looking at least until next of kin is notified and we have a 100% identification. So with that, I'll take any questions you might have.
Do you think it's a coincidence that there were these kinds of incidents on the same day, basically, in 2 tourism capitals?
Do I think it's a coincidence? I don't know. But what I can tell you is we're absolutely investigating any connectivity to what happened in New Orleans, as well as other attacks that have been occurring around the world. We're not ruling anything out yet, Dana.
Sure. Is there any possibility that this had a link to ISIS? There have been suggestions that the New Orleans attack might have.
Yeah, so the question is there any links to ISIS? And I will tell you that we don't have any indication of that here in Las Vegas. No overt flag as was seen in New Orleans. But again, we are investigating every aspect of this. And if that comes to light, we'll certainly update you.
Of the Elon Musk, Tesla, Donald Trump connection to be interesting from an investigative perspective?
Well, I mean, it's a Tesla truck, and we know that Elon Musk is working with President-elect Trump, and it's the Trump Tower, so there's obviously things to be concerned about there, and that's something we continue to look at.
Elon Musk is saying this vehicle and the vehicle in New Orleans were rented from the same company. Has there been any other indication that these 2 events might be associated?
It's another, the question is both vehicles, I'm being told New Orleans was rented from Turo, and so was ours. That's another coincidence that absolutely is continuing to bear from our investigation that we have to continue to look into.
Okay, so to recap, this nasty group is definitely associated in some way to the New Orleans incident, and they are looking at the possibility of there being other suspects. But the Las Vegas incident, they don't have any indication that it is related to this nasty group or that it is related to the New Orleans incident. But they are keeping their options open and keeping an open mind. They're going to follow where the evidence leads them, as any good investigation and investigator does. So my question is you might be thinking, well, how did this happen? How did this really go or slip by the awareness of the police? And I think that brings up another kind of topic or another avenue of discussion is how can we prevent these instances in the future? And I think that maybe AI might be the answer. We've had a number of instances in the recent past where servicemen or ex-servicemen have actually been the perpetrators of these violent acts, whether or not they are associated to any nasty group or not. So could AI possibly prevent these or help identify certain people in the future? And I think that it probably could. Currently, AI is being used mainly for commercial reasons, but it's also being used kind of, I wouldn't use the word nefariously, but it's being used by corporations to gather information about people, their spending habits, and all that kind of stuff. Why not use it for good? Why not use it to anticipate whether a person needs to be investigated for possible future acts, nasty acts. Now, this does bring up some concerns. You don't want Big Brother being all over the place and identifying people having false positives. And you don't want the government to, like the Liberal government in Canada or the Democrats in the United States, going after people and targeting people that disagree with them. I could see benefits and detractors for using AI. For example, I'm a YouTuber and I criticize the government. And I also do research. So I will go to different websites or I'll do Google searches to find out information. All of these things could bring me to the attention of authorities, and maybe they would be knocking on my door and interviewing me. Hopefully after the first couple of times, they would realize I'm not a threat to anybody. I'm just exercising my free speech. I'm also a novelist. I have written a novel in the past. So in the course of writing that novel, of course, I did some research online. This could also result in a false positive. So I can see some detractors from using AI, but I can also see some benefits to using AI. This guy in New Orleans, for example, he had things online, and he probably was going to different websites, doing some research. And if he was in contact with people who have nefarious intentions, and were associated to these nasty groups, possibly that could have been picked up by AI. Is it something we should look at in the future? I think, yes, we should, but as long as it's very controlled, if there's oversight and we can manage it without it being abused. Because again, I don't like the idea of Big Brother, but I think that in this kind of a context, it is important for the safety of people that we use the tools that are available to us, provided we have strong guidelines and assurances that they are not going to be used for nefarious purposes by the government. That's just my opinion. I'd love to know what you think. Put your comments down below. And while you're at it, please like this video, share with your friends and on social media. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell notification so you never miss another video. Also, please join me on Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific time for my live stream on YouTube and on Rumble, where you can join in on the conversation. Finally, I do teach the Canadian Firearm Safety course. If you wish to take one of those courses and you reside on Vancouver Island, please look me up. There are links in the show notes of this video to my website where you can sign up for one of my courses. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.